Crises don't knock before they enter. They don't wait for a convenient moment. They arrive quietly, often without warning, and suddenly everything you thought was certain begins to fall apart. Your job, your relationships, your health, or sometimes something even deeper, your very sense of self. One day, you wake up and the world feels strange. The ground beneath your feet no longer feels familiar. Everything that once gave you a sense of stability begins to slip through your fingers, and you're left questioning everything. If you're in the middle of such a moment, if you're navigating pain, uncertainty, or loss, let this be a reminder. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are becoming. Pain, though cruel and unwelcome, has a way of peeling back the surface and exposing the parts of us we've long ignored. Crisis does not come to destroy, it comes to reshape. And in that reshaping, we find a new version of ourselves, one that is stronger, wiser, and more honest. The Stoic philosophers Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca didn't write their teachings for kings or scholars. They wrote for people like us, people standing in the chaos of everyday life, seeking clarity, strength, and peace. Stoicism doesn't promise to take the fire away. It teaches us how to stand in it, how to hurt without being defeated, how to lose without losing ourselves. And most of all, how to begin again, not as who we were, but as who we were meant to become. So if everything feels like it's falling apart, maybe it's also falling into place. This is not the end. This is the beginning of your becoming. 1. Control what you can. Let go of the rest. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Epictetus. This simple sentence holds the weight of an entire philosophy. It is the cornerstone of Stoicism. The moment we understand this, truly understand it, not just intellectually, but with our whole being, is the moment we begin to reclaim our inner peace. Life, by its nature, is chaotic and unpredictable. We wake up each day into a world we do not control. The economy shifts. People make choices we don't agree with. Accidents happen. Plans fall apart. Loved ones leave. Illness strikes without warning. The past remains unchanged no matter how much we replay it in our minds. And the future, despite our best efforts, refuses to follow a script. But amid all that uncertainty, Stoicism offers a radical clarity. There are things within your control, and there are things that are not. The key to peace, the key to freedom is knowing the difference. You can't control what someone else says about you, but you can choose how you respond. You can't control whether today brings good news or bad, but you can control your breath. You can control your tone, your focus, your effort, your integrity. You can control the story you tell yourself when life gets hard. This is not about passive surrender. Stoicism is not the absence of emotion or ambition. It's the presence of wisdom. It's about refusing to waste your energy on things that drain you and direct that energy, instead, toward things that empower you. It's about asking, moment by moment, what can I do right now that is within my power? You don't need to fix everything to die you. Don't need to carry the world on your shoulders. You just need to take the next right step rooted in clarity, intention, and courage. The Stoic path doesn't begin with denial. It begins with radical acceptance. This is what is happening. This is what's mine to carry. This is what I must let go. From that place of honesty, you can begin to choose your response. You can shape your attitude. You can align your actions with your values. And in doing so, even in the midst of chaos, you regain your power not over the world, but over yourself. That is the essence of Stoicism. Not fighting reality, but learning how to live in harmony with it, facing it not with fear, but with clarity, resilience, and grace. 2. Turn obstacles into teachers. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoics. This was not just a poetic phrase, it was a call to transformation. It flipped the script on how we see obstacles. Adversity to them wasn't something to avoid, fear, or curse under our breath. It was the very thing we were meant to engage with, not in spite of our purpose, but because of it. Every challenge is an invitation. Every difficulty is a mirror. What frustrates you is pointing to your expectations. What scares you is revealing your edge. What delays you is testing your patience and your commitment. Life, in its own mysterious and often brutal way, gives you the curriculum you didn't ask for, but exactly the one you need. So when something stands in your way, you have a choice. You can shrink from it, ask, "Why is this happening to me?" and fall into resentment. Or you can pause, breathe, and ask a better question. What is this here to teach me? Because that shift from victimhood to curiosity is where the alchemy begins. Stoicism doesn't deny pain. It doesn't tell you to fake strength or bury your emotions. What it asks of you is far deeper. It asks that you turn toward the challenge, not to suffer for the sake of suffering, but to let the pain refine you, to let hardship polish your principles, to let discomfort reveal your blind spots and strengthen your discipline. When you begin to live this way, the obstacle is no longer the interruption, it becomes the path. Growth, after all, is rarely comfortable. It requires a shedding of old patterns, outdated beliefs, fragile egos. It often comes wrapped in disappointment, loss, or frustration. But if you stay with it, if you're willing to feel deeply, reflect honestly, and act deliberately, then even the most painful experiences can become sacred ground. They can shape in you a deeper clarity, a quieter courage, and a character that no longer depends on perfect conditions. So the next time something blocks your way, remember, you're not being punished. You are being forged. This is not the end. This is the way. 3. Calm the mind in the eye of the storm. A calm mind is the fortress of the wise, Seneca. In a world that often feels unbearably loud, where notifications ping endlessly, deadlines loom, conflicts arise, and the noise of opinion, comparison, and uncertainty never quite fades, the calm mind becomes something sacred, rare, and powerful. For the Stoics, inner calm wasn't a luxury. It was a discipline, a necessity. Not something reserved for monks on mountaintops, but a practice for those of us who must live in the mess of daily life with its heartbreaks, surprises, obligations, and imperfections. The Stoic doesn't run from the chaos of the world. They don't pretend it doesn't exist. Instead, they learn to cultivate a quiet center within it, a still point that remains grounded no matter how fierce the storm outside becomes. This inner calm is not a denial of pain, but a new relationship with it. The wise don't suppress their emotions, they study them. They sit with their discomfort, observe their reactions, and learn from what arises. In doing so, they begin to realize that peace is not the absence of hardship, it's the presence of understanding. There are simple but powerful ways to begin cultivating this calm. Writing, for one, allows you to take the tangle of emotions and thoughts inside your head and lay them out in front of you. When you put your thoughts on paper, they stop chasing you in circles. They become visible, nameable, and manageable. Meditation, even just 5 quiet minutes a day, teaches you to return to presence. Not to escape your life, but to come home to it fully. And breathing deep, intentional breathing, is perhaps the most accessible tool of all. It draws you out of regret over the past and worry about the future, and anchors you into the now, the only place where real clarity exists. A calm mind is not passive. It is not indifferent. It is alert, discerning, and strong. It is the space from which wise decisions emerge, decisions not driven by impulse, fear, or ego, but by purpose. The calm mind does not react. It responds. And in a world that constantly tries to pull you in 1,000 directions, the ability to pause, to breathe, and to choose your response, that is a quiet kind of mastery. So build your fortress, not to shut the world out, but to return to it with more clarity, more courage, and more compassion than before. Because when your mind is calm, your vision clears. And when your vision clears, you begin to walk through life not as someone being tossed around by it, but as someone who knows where they're going and who they are becoming along the way. 4. Embrace impermanence. This too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever, not joy, not pain. This is not just a comforting phrase to repeat when things get hard. It's a core truth of life, and one of the most liberating principles in Stoic philosophy. Everything is temporary. Yes, even this. Even what you're feeling right now. Even the heaviness you can't quite name. Even the ache that follows you into sleep and meets you again when you wake. It too will pass. We often forget this when we're in the middle of something difficult. Pain can be so loud, so consuming, that it convinces us it will last forever. That we're stuck. That this moment, this season, this version of ourselves is permanent. But it's not. You are not trapped, you are passing through. You are walking across a chapter, not writing your final paragraph. The Stoics remind us of the impermanence of all things, not as a way to deny our emotions, but as a way to navigate them with grace. Just as spring follows winter, just as sunrise chases night, so too do our emotional states shift. Pain gives way to relief. Confusion gives way to clarity. Even sorrow softens over time, becoming something we carry, but no longer something that defines us. The same is true for joy, for success, for comfort. These too are temporary, and in knowing that, we learn to appreciate them more fully, not with clinging, but with gratitude. Impermanence teaches us to hold life gently, to savor the good while it's here, and to endure the hard with the quiet knowing that this too shall pass. So whatever you're facing right now, whatever uncertainty or loss or fear is weighing on your chest, know that it is not the whole story. It is a scene, not the whole script. Let that truth be your quiet strength. Let it soften your resistance and give you the courage to keep moving, even if your steps are small. Because change is already in motion, even when you can't feel it yet. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not stuck. You are in motion, and nothing, no feeling, no failure, no moment lasts forever. 5. Practice gratitude even in ruin. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Epictetus. At first glance, this idea may sound counterintuitive, especially in a world that constantly tells us to chase more. More success, more money, more recognition. And when we inevitably fall short or lose something meaningful, a relationship, a dream, a version of ourselves, we are often told to grieve, to long, to feel incomplete. But the wisdom of Epictetus, like much of Stoic philosophy, offers us a radical alternative. Instead of being consumed by what is missing, look at what remains. Yes, even in the midst of loss, something still remains. You're still here. You're still breathing. You're still capable of reflection, of change, of beginning again. Gratitude, in the Stoic sense, is not a superficial act of ignoring pain or pretending that everything is okay. It is not toxic positivity. It is a courageous decision to see clearly, to acknowledge what hurts while also recognizing what still holds value. It's a form of inner discipline, a lens that helps you reorient yourself when life feels like it's slipping out of control. When you lose something, your mind often obsesses over the gap it left behind. Gratitude gently redirects that focus, not to erase the pain, but to keep it from consuming everything else. The Stoic does not wait for life to be perfect in order to feel grateful. He doesn't wait until all problems are solved or until every desire is fulfilled. He practices gratitude as a form of resilience, as a daily anchor, as a reminder that even in darkness, there are still points of light. A warm conversation, a single breath, a lesson learned through difficulty, a quiet moment of reflection. These are not trivial. They are lifelines. Gratitude becomes then not just a feeling, but a tool, a way to survive, a way to stay centered, a way to rebuild from whatever has been lost, and perhaps most importantly, a way to reclaim agency in a world that often makes us feel powerless. Because while we cannot control what leaves us, we can choose what we hold on to. So today, even if your heart feels heavy, even if something is missing, pause for a moment. Look around. Look within. What remains? What still matters? What is quietly offering you another beginning? That's where your strength lives. That's where gratitude begins. 6. Be the person you need right now. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Be that person yourself. It's a hard truth, one that doesn't land gently, but it's also one of the most empowering truths you'll ever hear. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to swoop in with all the answers. No one is going to hand you clarity, confidence, or peace on a silver platter, and that's not a tragedy. That's your moment of power. Because the Stoics knew something that many people still struggle to accept, you are responsible for your life. Not in a way that blames you for every hardship, but in a way that empowers you to rise through it. To face what's in front of you and say, "This is mine to walk through," even if you didn't choose the pain, you can choose your response. And that choice, that moment, is where your strength begins to grow. You will not always feel strong. In fact, some days you'll feel like you're barely hanging on. And that's okay. Strength doesn't always look like confidence or certainty. Sometimes it looks like brushing your teeth when you don't want to get out of bed, drinking a glass of water when your heart feels hollow, sending one honest text to someone who cares, even when shame tells you to stay silent. These small, quiet acts of showing up for yourself, they are not insignificant. They are the foundation of your healing. Being your own savior doesn't mean doing it all alone. It means refusing to abandon yourself. It means becoming your own steady hand when the world feels like it's slipping. It means offering yourself the patience, the compassion, and the courage you've always hoped someone else might bring to you. This is the Stoic way, not waiting for the world to change before you begin, but changing yourself so that you can meet the world with greater clarity, resilience, and inner peace. You become your own companion in the darkness. Not perfectly, not all at once, but moment by moment, choice by choice. And here's the beautiful irony. When you stop waiting for someone else to fix you, life starts to shift, not because the pain disappears, but because you finally realize that you are capable of bearing it, transforming it, and walking forward with it. The world will meet you where you meet yourself. So show up, even if it's quiet, even if it's messy, even if all you can do today is breathe, rest, or begin again. Because every act of self-respect plants a seed, and eventually, those seeds grow into a life that no longer waits to be saved because it's already being rebuilt from the inside out. Final thoughts. Stoicism isn't cold. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending to be unaffected. It's about facing the storm with open eyes. It's about holding your ground when everything tries to pull you under. It's about remembering you are not your circumstances. You are your choices. So, if you are going through a crisis today, remember, you don't have to go back to who you were. This is an invitation to become someone deeper, calmer, and more aligned with who you are always meant to be. Your strength is not in pretending everything's fine. It's in walking through the fire and coming out carrying light.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.